How do you turn this into this and this into this? Stick around and I'll show you.
How do I become a rally driver? My name's Carl from Rally Action and I'm going to answer the question.
In this episode, I'm going to show you how to build a rally car. Before you get all crazy searching the internet for a new car, first place you need to start is with the dollars and cents. Work out your budget carefully and realistically. Ask questions of people who've built cars in the past and get quotes where you need to. Above everything else, there's 3 places you shouldn't scrimp: safety, suspension and brakes. You're going to need to know your way around a mechanic's toolbox, have some power tools handy, have access to a good welder and be able to weld, and need a few miscellaneous hand tools. Air tools and a compressor don't go astray either. Last but not least is somewhere to build the car. The last thing you want to do is have an eyesore in your front garden that annoys your neighbours, your other half, or attracts unwanted attention from the council. Right, all the boxes checked so far? Good. Time to purchase the car and get stuck into it. First step is to strip the entire interior out of the car. Take care when you're pulling it all out. Some of the parts will need to be reused and other parts may be able to be sold. Top tip is to keep all the nuts, bolts and screws from the strip. You'll be surprised how many of these you'll need. The next bit can be messy, noisy and dirty. It involves stripping all the sound deadening and tar off the floor on the inside of the car. There can be as much as 15 to 20 kilos of tar stuck to the floor, and removing it not only reduces the weight, it also makes it easier to weld and do other work on the car. With the interior clean, it's now time to pull out all the engine and driveline. This gives you a chance to inspect everything, loosen any sticky, seized or rusted bolts and drive shaft splines, and inspect for worn bushes and mounts. Time to clean up all the seams, ready for some welding. Those with thick sealant in them or wide seams may also need to be dug out with a screwdriver. At crucial seams, like structural areas and suspension mounting points, 25mm long stitch weld to put in. There's a few reasons why we seam weld. 1. It increases the life of the body shell. 2. It increases torsional rigidity, makes the shell more solid. And 3. Stops popped and split seams like this one. While you're at it, sort out your seat mounting bars and weld them in. The next stage is the single most important part of the whole car, the roll cage. Fully welded in or bolt in will depend on you, what kind of car you've got, what kind of competition you're doing, and where you are in the world. Just make sure whatever cage design you fit actually complies with the regulations for the Motorsport Authority in your area. If you've got a weld-in cage, this step will come after you've had the cage fitted. If you're using a bolt-in cage, this stage will come before the cage goes in. Seal all your seams, including all your seam welding, with a good sealant such as Sikaflex. Don't use silicone. Clean and prep the interior, and then give it a good coat of paint. Once the paint's dry, you can start bolting in your roll cage. Get it all loosely assembled in the car, then drill your holes, and then bolt it all in properly. Top tip is to follow the manufacturer's instructions in terms of order of assembly and tensions of the bolts. If you haven't already, now's the time to paint all of your external seams, like in the engine bay and the wheel arches and underneath the car. Whilst the paint's drying, it's an opportunity to get some mechanical work sorted. Replace belts such as a cam belt, seals, hoses, give the engine a good service, and also replace the clutch. With all that done, the driveline can go back in the car. Don't forget you may also need new mounts and also bushes for the suspension. Next up, it's time to tackle the brakes. It may be as simple as just reconnecting all the standard system, or else it might need a full replumb. If the car has ABS, it should be removed from the braking circuit. You may need to temp fit a driver's seat so you can make sure everything's in the right spot. Make sure all mods are engineered properly and installed correctly. With the brake plumbing done, you can fit the seat rails, fire extinguishers and the seats. Electrics can happen at the same time. It may be as simple as adding a few extra switches for spotlights, or it might be a full rewire. The intercom, rally computer, spare wheel, jack and tools can also go in now as well. Under the car again, you can tackle sump guard and underbody protection, which may include sill, floor, fuel tank and differential guards. The last few external items are fitting a roof vent and bonnet pins. If done carefully, you can avoid scratching the surrounding paint. With the basic car complete, you can turn your attention to the paint job. Some cars don't need any paint at all, some cars need a minor touch-up, and some need a full respray. That's going to depend on you and your personal preference. After painting, you can bolt in your rally suspension. You will also need a thorough wheel alignment and setup before you start racing. With your ride height set and your competition tyres on, you can tackle the mud flaps. The last items will be fitting race harnesses and maybe a helmet hammock if you want one. Phew! So that's the bulk of the car done. There's still a few other items you might need, like extra lights for example, in this case a light pod. If you need lights outside the car, you're also going to need a light inside the car in the form of a co-driver's map reading light. You may also need to fit roll cage padding, a first aid kit and safety triangles. So that's it, the build of a rally car, compressed from several weeks into a few minutes. If you'd like more info, we go into a lot more detail on some of the blog posts on our website, rallyaction.com.au. And if you have any questions or ideas, leave them in the comments below and we may cover them in a future episode. Thanks for watching. Hope we see you out there racing soon.